I don't think there's anything in the sewer bills, they're just standard work today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any questions.
You
Okay.
said spring for Barbara, that means beginning the work. Barbara.
For the low pressure, yeah, they are not planning to start the low pressure contract, which is, once you pass the intersection of Doris and Dorothy and Barbara, I think we pick up one house on each side on the gravity section going back, but everybody else, they're out around the Barbara Spit and out to certain, that's all a low pressure sewer system. With the grinder pumps and all that. They are not gonna start that work in the spring. Both these contracts they have until the end of August next year to complete.
I don't have any questions.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm heading home.
Good for you. Thanks for hanging around, Steve.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. O'Henley, Dan O'Henley from Sheboygan County Recycling. Welcome.
Well, me, I threw my phone at you. Thank you for meeting with me tonight. I'm trying to discuss some issues that we're having down here. And I brought some reports tonight to hand out if anybody's interested in the program and what it costs, what we take in mostly is cardboard and stuff like that. So I think we want to start right off by talking about the camera system, or how do you want to do this?
Well, why don't you give us an update of, you and I had a conversation 2 weeks ago about what we're seeing at the drop station, and how many drop stations do you have in Sheboygan County?
Okay.
And what are we all experiencing?
Okay, so current sites in Sheboygan County right now is Sheboygan, Aloha, Indian River, and Walker Township and Waverly Township all have open sites. Westburg, Eastburg have transfer station hours. So we have several sites. Indian River, Sheboygan, and Aloha are probably our biggest sites. Indian River and Aloha, they're probably all the same for the same problems. The difference is we have more help at, let's say, at Sheboygan County, because we have the jail there.
Oh,
So we can have trustee go and clean that up, bang it up. Aloha, luckily we have a volunteer that helps out over there, helps me keep that clean. Indian River, we do have a guy there that collects bottles, stuff. He's tremendous help. Whoever takes the bottles there, stuff, he usually helps clean up too. So that's part. What we're having is people dropping things off that they shouldn't. I mean, it's clearly stated on the containers what we take.
Yes.
That's it. That's the only thing that should go in there. And that's a bad problem, because what's happening is it's driving cost of recycling up by 50%, because they're putting so much trash or unwanted or stuff that we can't recycle.
Right.
We haul it over there. Sure, it's gone, it's not a problem, but when we dump over there, we weigh. So if we're weighing heavy, we know why. We're looking, that's a problem. I didn't want to put cameras up. I'm old school.
Mhm.
I want people to do what we're supposed to, and I want to use this program to make it better for all of us. I mean, it's $25 a year for household to get rid of your recycling.
Right.
That's 80+% of your household waste goes there if you just did it right, So I don't believe we're going to get to those people, whatever the reason is. I don't know who it is, and none of us are perfect.
Right.
We need.
Right.
So the problem is now they just throw it on the ground. And like I just was over there a while ago, and there's a lot of the stuff on the ground. There's bags of plastic and glass. Yeah, it's getting full. It is, but it would fit in there. I picked a big bag up and put the whole bag in.
Right.
Wasn't even any effort.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. I think we're at cameras.
Well, you and I talked about signage. What signage do we have there? Would it help to have more?
So I have signs that are on plastic, like a sawhorse field. That's a big sign, 2x3, whatever they are. Tells you not to put stuff on the ground, not da-da-da. They throw them on the ground or put them on back. So we don't have to look that way. So they'll know. So I don't know I don't believe signage is going to work.
Okay.
I think that we need to put cameras up at our cost, going on recycling. If there's anything that township could help us with, whether it be in the internet or however we can make this work. If I put up a hunting type camera, the pictures will come right to my phone. There creates another problem. I don't mind getting pictures to my phone, but what do we do then? We
Yeah.
call the police? I'm pretty sure the police are busy enough. This is not something that I would want tax dollars spent on policing. I've had to have them do something before, but really there's not a law other than a litter law, and that's like $100. And would they pay it? It's not gonna push forward. You know what I mean? We're gonna have my time here, everybody's time is just not, I don't think that's the answer.
Right.
And I don't wanna call the police on every person. Hey, and if somebody can't get rid of a mattress, that's not the place for it, but I guess it's, it needs help.
Maybe alternative numbers, call Pat, they'll come pick it up right at your house.
Yeah,
So $25.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna reach the
Yeah.
problem that's, and I'm trying to be very positive here.
Right.
I started this program in 2007. I know I'm a little long in the tooth here, and I'm getting a little bit frustrated. So I'm glad that we're talking.
Yeah, well, again, I wanted you to come and just give a report of what you're seeing, because you have more than one station. Maybe it's worth further conversation. I've had a conversation with other, people who work at the Emmett County, and they have similar situations. I don't think we're unique.
Oh, they have it worse.
Yeah.
Emmett County this week, on Thursday, they had easily a dump truck full of cardboard at one of the locations. And what they're doing is when they pull in there, and if the site's full or getting full, they start throwing in piles, and then the driver can't get to the container to haul. I mean, it's just,
Well,
so.
let's
Whatever
get-
happened, if it's full, just come back in an hour or come back tomorrow, I
Right.
check those sites every day. Saturday, Sunday, I get up, have a cup of coffee, and I live 10 miles from here, I drive out here and check it, make sure, open them up, or I'll say, well, they'll make tomorrow morning. Sometimes it's tough, you gotta push the stuff in. I'm not hauling cans that are full.
Right,
2 months, it's a lot of money.
right, yeah. Well, let's keep talking about this, and, yeah, I'm with you. How do you legislate good behavior? I don't know, I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, we've had volunteers, I don't know, we police each other maybe, we could reach out to the community and say, don't be afraid to speak up.
Right,
I don't know. I don't know if we can hook up to your internet over there.
we can check into that, there might be
Because I'll
a,
buy whatever, I'll pay for the internet.
Right. well, there's some commercial businesses over there, and I can have a conversation with them, and we can throw some ideas around here. We have some really, some very knowledgeable people with regard to technology. We'll loop Gordon in on this and see.
Yeah,
what his
MoDOT
take is.
Furniture would let me use their internet. They put cameras right on their building, basically.
Yeah.
Then can we put a picture out of the guy doing it?
No.
That's the next thing we gotta
Right,
make sure.
so we'll have to get with some
Yeah.
legal evidence.
We did have a gentleman stop in today. He was at the recycling. And there was this truck that had, it was a builder from Birmingham on his truck. And he was dropping off headboards. The citizen had told him, don't pick those back up, put them in your truck.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
But we expect them to come back.
Oh, yeah, he'll come back tonight or, yeah, we have people putting in truckloads of vinyl siding.
Oh,
And that clearly is not recycled.
And there's no need for that because when you purchase it, you can take it back. We took our old back to the company that we bought our new from. They take it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep working at this. There has to be a solution. We'll start small.
Yes, sir.
So,
Do you have a phone number on the dumps, on the containers to say, if full, please call?
Don't need it. I check them every day. If I don't check them every day, Roger does. There's no time you can't get more in if you just put it in.
Just curious.
So, yep. People get a hold of me, so, yep. We did have SAFA, Straight Area, Troubled Kids
Oh.
program.
yes.
They were cleaning for me every year. So this year, the county didn't get a grant for that.
Oh.
I just found that out. So I have been off on on light duty with a shoulder injury. So we're gonna try to get that cleaned up this week and re-whip. But other than that, we're gonna just do what we can as usual and, you know,
All right, we'll put our heads together, we'll see what we can do.
I'm more than happy to come to any meeting or
Okay,
call me.
okay, great. And you dropped off the current guide, and you said there's a new one being made, and we'll have those available here. Can you get us some?
Yes, as soon as Rose, my secretary, gets them, she will get them out.
Perfect,
And the other one is just the year's report.
yeah,
And it'll show you some charts on the back that really show you the product, the amount of product,
well,
just your volume. So,
well, I guess the good thing is, we are recycling more.
well, the mixed fiber, which is cardboard and corrugated cardboard, that is just huge now because everybody gets everything delivered at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I come home every day and there are 3 boxes at my door and my wife told me that's not gonna stop. So, it's
Yeah,
only gonna get worse.
yeah. Well, there's always a pearl in everything, and,
Absolutely.
we are recycling more, but we can start.
There's more trouble in the world than that.
Right.
But if we just work together, I think, to talk to each other and,
And hold each other accountable like this person.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We can be politely.
Sure.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Anybody got more questions?
Perfect. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, bills.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we had 29 invoices. and
We are Mike's back.
Oh,
29 invoices in the amount of $43,577.69.
Just out of curiosity, does that include, that does not include payroll? That's a separate report.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, there it is. All right, any questions? Any questions on the bills? No. Okay, do we have a motion to accept those? Clerk,
I'll make that motion.
support? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, well, 1 weekend to collecting summer taxes, lots of confused people about what happened to their bill. And if you have friends that talk to you, your tax bill may have went up because your assessment went up. But as far as we're now collecting, and we talked about this at a couple meetings, but in the Lakes wanted to collect half in the summer, half in the winter. So I'm telling people, whatever your bill went up in the summer, it will go down roughly the same amount. So they're just trying to get their money coming in across the board. It is up on our website, the letter from the superintendent. And then I try to put it on the tax bills, and it starts to say in the Lakes Board, and then it cut it off. So I don't know what happened with that, but something on my end, I'm sure when I proofed it, I didn't make sure it was all in there. Other than that, I think we received it in today, 1 week later, and I think we're already up to like $90,000. So people are coming in and paying. Then the only other thing that we're really working hard on is getting all of our bank recs done. And of all the banks we have that I talked to you about before, 17 of them, we only have the pool account, of course, and then the new account that we opened up for the EPA funds. That'll just take a second to get that one done. And then the sewer ones, the one sewer account is because some of the changes to pool will affect the sewer, so I can probably get that done next week. Other than that, everything else is up to date, all the other accounts. Some of them through June, we've already got the June 30 ones reconciled. I gotta get the ones from the library, those are quick. And then so we are looking really good as far as getting them done, getting them caught up and keeping them up to date.
Lori, is this the first tax, with the new voted millage for the school?
Is it? Or was it on winter bills too?
Oh,
Was it on the winter bills? Okay.
I thought it was on winter bills.
So, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
I thought maybe, they would be seeing an increase, but they saw it less.
Yeah, and they have it, it's separated on the bill as far as the 18 mil, and then that debt is
Yeah.
a separate line, so.
Yeah.
any other comments, questions? Do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report, please? Sandra? Support? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And PDA, Dan is not here, so you want to just,
Just a continuation, and I noticed, we are sending out a letter to those, businesses south of 68 down to the, Tuscarora border, about, possibility of creating a pathway from the school to the township line. So we're gonna get that letter out. Other than that, pathway's done, or excuse me, streetscape is done.
The waypoint signs have been starting to go up today.
I saw that, yeah. But, yeah.
that's good. Okay, FOIA, we've had one FOIA request. Library, no report there. Parks,
Hello, my name is Stacy Cole, and I am the Chair of the Parks Commission. The Parks Commission would like to provide the Township Board with an update on staffing, site activity, and ongoing observations at our public facilities. We are currently seeking to fill 2 open positions, one full-time and one seasonal. The seasonal position runs from April through September, starting at $16.50 per hour, and includes general custodial and lawn maintenance duties as directed by the supervisor, the maintenance supervisor. The full-time position pays $18 per hour and involves general maintenance and custodial responsibilities, including snow removal. This role may also require weekend and holiday availability as needed. During the recent holiday weekend, volunteer video footage from the Green Docks area was reviewed. The site experienced high visitor traffic, but no safety issues were observed. Both boaters and swimmers at the Green Docks were respectful and orderly. We extend our thanks to Pat and Jay McGinnis for generously providing their time and equipment to assist in reviewing and responding to earlier concerns at this location. Since the removal of the porta-john at the Green Dock site, we have actually seen a reduction in reported issues. While there was some initial concern from the public about the lack of restroom facilities, the overall impact has been positive, resulting in less maintenance and fewer incidents of misuse. At our meeting on July 1st, we had received 1 bid of $500 for the truck, and we received 2 bids for the trailer. Was $500 for the truck, and that was passed at our meeting. And the highest bid for the trailer was $600, which was passed to accept, and they are both won. Additionally, the Parks Commission has voted not to charge rental fees for the remainder of this year to the following community organizations: the Burt Lake Preservation Association, the Women's Club, the Indian River Area Library, and the Friends of Middle Lake Schools. Looking ahead, we are discussing the creation of a once-per-year application process that would allow similar groups to request a waiver of rental fees in the future. We appreciate the board's continued support and are committed to keeping our parks clean, safe, and accessible for all community members.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm really happy you stepped up to be the chair.
Yeah. Brian, wave your hand. We have a new Parks Commissioner also here. And there is one more position open on the Parks Commission, if anyone's interested. Any questions or comments on the Parks Commission report?
I just want to thank Jane and Pat again for their time
Yes.
recording and volunteering their equipment. I appreciate that.
You know, I had a conversation with a representative from District Health 4 last week who was here to test the beach, the waters at the beach. We are tested every Monday. We had a high reading. It's either coliform from waterfowl excrement, poop, or E. coli. There was no E. coli found. There was a high reading on Monday last week. Routinely, when that happens, it is tested the very next day by this young man from District Health 4. He did test it. He said it had dropped. No need to put out any kind of a caution. He even went on to explain that he said it is always an individual's choice to swim. It's always their choice to swim in the shallows or the deep or whatever. And sadly, 2 of our Northern Michigan community members lost their life swimming at Maple Bay. So again, we just urge people to use their own discretion and caution when they are swimming and enjoying the waterways, whether you're at the green docks, the river, any of the lakes. Accidents happen very quickly. But he did partake of swimming at the green dock that Tuesday evening after he tested. And I asked him point blank, I said, how were you treated and how was the behavior? He said, and I said, and what was the garbage situation like down there? And he said, on all 3 counts, everything was positive. He said there was no garbage on the ground. He said there was no disrespect shown to him. There was no foul language. And he said everyone looked to be having a very good time. So that was a nice report as well. Okay, thank you. Gordon's not here. So his report is in the packet. They had a wild woolly, oh, that's from June. Okay, on to old business, boat launch parking lot restriping. That went out to bid. I did not hit the targets that we had set up last month, so it'll run through the end of the month. We've got it posted on the socials, on our website. You'll notice on the website, Karen has done a marvelous job tweaking things. There is if you're looking at the website page, in the lower left, I think the second bullet point down, it says bid opportunities. It's there. She's working really hard to bring those things to the forefront, as well as out at Builders Exchange. We'll run that through the end of the month and go from there with it. So that's where the restriping is in boat launch. Capital improvement plan clarification, that is, I suggest we table that. We have not heard back from legal. Do we need to make a motion on that, or can we just table it? Let's just table it, we'll just table it till next month. Same thing with the corrective quitclaim deed. That was with the library, and the question last month wasn't whether or not the library owned their part of the building and the property on which it sits, but where is the township in all of this? So we're still sorting through that, and there are people with a lot of history that we need to reach out to on that, and we'll make a connection on that. Parks Commission addressed the bids on the truck and the trailer. It's nice to have them out of the parking lot. The culvert on Club Road. If you recall last month, we brought to the meeting a request to put in to replace a culvert over off Club Road south of M68 where Bigby Coffee and Dan's Repair is. The Road Commission has purchased that culvert. Bigby Coffee and Dan's Service have agreed to pay. We set the stipulations that the checks came and cleared, were brought to us and cleared. There was some balking at that. So the Road Commission went out and talked to other commissions, road commissions, and said, hey, how do you handle this? And they came up with this agreement. It does completely take the township out of this agreement financially. We are the go-between, we are the conduit for the money. It allows those businesses to make a donation to the township for tax purposes. It's a flow through to the road commission. I've received feedback from both parties, Mr. Konzak at Alpena for Bigby Coffee and Dan Nybelt of Dan's Auto Repair. They felt the agreement was fine in their opinion. So I'll bring it back to the board to ask permission and approval to sign this agreement, and let both parties know, so that's the motion on the table. Do we have support for the discussion of this agreement with the road commission? Okay.
Who was the support?
Sue.
Wait for a second.
So I don't know if you've had a chance to read through it, the agreement, pretty straightforward.
So we're being taken out of the financial, just legal.
Correct. And the only thing that, after reading it through, if you look at the paragraph under item D, the second sentence, the cost of the culvert can be paid for by the aforementioned businesses after this document is executed and in advance of the project. This is the part that I'm questioning, or shall be paid within 30 days following invoice submitted after completion of the work. I wanted to strike that on the or shall be paid. But if the board's comfortable with that, we'll leave it.
I don't see that. Where is it? Under D?
Under D, that next paragraph. Yeah.
This right here? Okay.
This right there.
Okay.
I suppose it's no big deal. I mean, we signed the agreement and they don't send the check for 30 days after. The road commission's holding it. They've already paid for the culvert.
I feel very comfortable. I don't know Jeff, but I definitely know.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff sent an email today saying he had no problems with the agreement. So we'll leave it as is.
Yes.
And the only thing is that Dan Nybelt's last name is not on here, so we'll get that added. Okay, so motion on the table to sign the agreement and get it returned to the road commission. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business, sewer construction bills. Phase 1 gravity to Elmer's in the amount of $6,650.74. Wastewater treatment plant expansion to Grand Traverse Construction in the amount of $227,714.43. And that is paid through USDA and Eagle. Excuse me, Eagle doesn't pay on that one, it's zero, but the EPA grant does kick in on that as well. 227,714.43. on that. And then sewer extension phase 1 low pressure system to Matt's Underground in the amount of $425,686.91. And the phase 2 performance engineering services, construction inspection, $27,001.75. And do we have, I'll make a motion to approve for payment, the phase 1, phase 2 wastewater treatment plant and performance engineering phase 2 bills as submitted. Do we have support for that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Park fees, that was addressed by our Parks Commission. Very good. I believe, I can say for the board, we fully support that.
Let's go back,
Oh,
the
sorry.
transient merchant.
Oh, did I miss? I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. Okay,
It's okay,
cruising right along.
it's okay. After reviewing ours rates versus other communities, our rates are right in line. However, I think more work needs to be done on getting an application together, coming up to date with guidelines on these. Who should be actually obtaining that license. And so I will do a little bit more work on that and get that next month.
So there's no motion really to be made, and that's just more information, so we will table it and address it in August. Okay. There, I'm sorry, I was charging right ahead there. Parks fees were BLPA, Women's Club, Indian River Area Library, and Friends of the Inland Lake School. Parks was gracious to present that. I think I can say we're in full support of that. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Security cameras at the Green Dock and recycling, again, that's been addressed tonight. Green Dock seems to be taking care of itself with self-monitoring. Hope it continues. And the recycling center, digging into that a little more. I don't know the legality of pictures, and I don't know, we'll have to get with the police department on that. We did receive a resignation of a second Parks Commissioner. We received it June 11th, which was the day after the June meeting. I did want to bring that to the board's attention. Make a motion that we accept the resignation of Gail Hall from the Tuscarora Township Parks Commission. Do we have support for that? Okay, yeah, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail. Yes. Budget amendment for the boat launch.
Okay, it's just a quick, adjustment amendment, in the amount of $7,212. I need to take that from the 502-000-39000, for, what is that, for wages? And put that to the 502-756-70200, and then the $512 for FICA, 502-756-70900.
So the total amount of 7212 is coming from 390 and going, and then you're separating it out, right? Did I understand? Okay, good.
We discussed that. We had discussed that and we just missed getting it on the,
Data entry, yep, okay. All right, so, you want to make a motion on that, Ms. Clark?
I make a motion that I make those adjustments or amendments to the budget for wages and FICA.
And that's to put them in the boat launch?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second for that? I'll second. Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. O&M rates for metered customers. Ms. Fisher.
Okay. We kind of missed that last month. They're currently at 85.66, 10% increase, brings them to $94.23 per RU. And then there's, can't remember, I think it's 20 cents per, what they meter out to. So they're, okay, so their quarter,
Go ahead.
yeah, their quarterly, O&M rate is lower because they're metered.
Right.
And then there is so much, per their usage. And usually it's minimal,
Okay.
but they have a base rate just like everybody else.
And this is billed quarterly? Yes. Okay. So when will this new rate, it's 94.23?
With this billing,
Okay.
With this, do you mean the one for June?
yes.
Excuse me. Okay, so do you have a motion?
A motion to approve the new rate for meters to $94.23 per quarter,
Is that per RU per quarter?
per RU.
Do you have support for that?
I'll support that. Who was the support?
I'm sorry, Chris, I'm looking at it. See. Do you have any questions or comments? No? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Airport insurance renewal. The airport has their own general liability insurance. They submitted a renewal this year. It does carry a $2,500 deductible. I asked Mark if he wanted to do a little legwork, and he said, sure. So he got a second, he got a second quote, same company, same coverage, it just changes the deductible to zero. So with a $2,500 deductible, it's $1,325 a year. With no deductible, the premium changes to $1,575 per year. Again, this is just for the airport, their general liability coverage. So the motion, well, I guess we need to discuss it, because I don't know which one we want to
I
go.
don't know that we've ever had a claim on that. My 27 years.
A little bit, we don't have that, right?
Yeah, my 27, I've never seen that.
So it was just, it's something I do at home when I'm shopping my insurance is to do this. So again, what we budgeted was for the renewal at $1,325. If there is a claim, it will, the township or the airport, which is one and the same, will pay that deductible before any claims are paid. But, so the motion on the table is to accept the airport's general liability insurance coverage for general liability for $1,325 a year. That's my motion. Do we have support?
Yeah, support.
Discussion?
Difference is $250, correct? Which is, right?
Never seen that, but
Right.
how does the, what's the part of the thoughts?
They were willing, they were submitted the 1325. Yeah. It's the same as last year.
And we put the 1325 in the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so the motion is to accept the renewal for the airport's general liability coverage of $1,325 with a $2,500 deductible. Motion on the table with support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Treasurer?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Money in.
Money in, money out.
So we have, an account at CNB, it's an IMA account, so there's a little bit of interest. But we're done with roads for now. So, that's one less bank account to reconcile every month. So it was recommended that we just close that account. And I don't have a problem closing it. I don't know if we'll ever have more road projects. I guess if we do, we'll open up another bank account. And to keep it open, I didn't do that, I should have found out if there's a charge to keep it open, there probably is, but I'm gonna cut with interest, and probably have minimum deposit, that just ties up money, that's just, 18 cents interest is not,
That's about what we earned on that account.
sometimes 7 cents.
Okay, so your motion is to close the road IMA account at CNB.
Yes.
Do you have support for that?
I'll support that.
And further discussion or questions? How much work is it to open an account? Should we have a special assessment next year for a loan?
No, not very much, no.
Just another vote by the board to open it.
And then,
I'm gonna sign.
yes.
Mhm.
Something, comment? Okay. All in favor for closing the CNB Road IMA account, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Plant monument.
Okay, I handed out an engagement letter from Plant Moran for you to review. We've been struggling with reconciling the pool account. So our CPA, Neil Hammerbacher, has stepped away. So what I did was I reached out to Gaybridge for a recommendation for a firm who has not only municipality experience, but BSNA experience as well. And Ian Rees, from Gaybridge recommended Carrie Shea from Plant Moran out of Southfield. I spoke with Carrie, she assured me that they have clients that use BSNA and they have a lot of experience, they even help them if they come up with against any perps and BSNA, whatever. Unlike the other accounts that we have that have a handful of checks per month, we process approximately 1,000 checks a month and 1,500 a year and 1,500 invoices just out of the pool account alone. So we cannot start the audit until the pool account is reconciled, and the auditor said he wants to start it mid-August. So as of today, we have 5 weeks to get everything ready and start getting it over to them. And anybody who knows it, that doesn't just, you don't just send one file, I mean, and they ask for stuff and we have a list and check it off. And so there's a lot involved. That's why the money was put in the budget for professional services to get help with the audit. The reconciling the accounts so we can be prepared for the audit, and we are stuck, we need help with this pool account. We will need to get them set up with Anavan so they can work remote, which saves us money.
We have to give up a computer in office for them to hook up, so that small desk,
They won't be coming to our office.
but to hook up remote, they have to
We have another computer in the office that I can
get up and running.
All right, well, let's get the motion on the table and then we can have further discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Well, okay.
So that way we will give them access to general ledger because that way they can use BSNA. The financial impact, Neil charged us $150 an hour plus mileage. With his mileage added in, it came to about $170 an hour. Plant Moran's blended fee is $180 an hour, and what blended means is that it includes some senior consulting from them if needed. And like I said, they are CPAs and they work with numerous municipalities.
Okay, so what is your motion?
My motion is that we get prepared to have, well, I have to send to the engagement letter signed, get it over them, and get prepared to start getting help to get this pool account reconciled, so we're ready for the audit by mid-August.
Okay, so Laura has a motion on the table. Do we have support for that
Yes.
discussion?
What do you think the projected hourly time frame is to get that completed?
If we
It's
have
gonna take 10 hours, it's gonna take 50 hours.
Neil came here, it just depends on, I mean, we were on the outside.
Yeah, we're working with, an account that had not been reconciled for 2 years. It is not just so much the checks that come in, it is the deposits, the general ledger journals being entered correctly. There is a lot that goes into that account. We've worked on it. I called Uncle a while ago. There's transactions that I can't wait to show them that need to be cleared up. I don't know how. I mean, I can do the regular reconciliations, but it was also based on the fact that the tax account hadn't been reconciled. That had to be completed before you can, because that makes changes to that pool account. It's a difficult account to reconcile, and should have called Uncle earlier.
So again, I'm gonna piggyback on Jonathan. The audit is, they want to begin mid-August or August 1st. Do we know? Mid-August.
Mm-hmm.
So how long are we anticipating engaging Plant Moran? How many weeks until the audit is started? Because we're already engaged Cambridge for the audit itself.
Yeah, this is completely separate.
No, I understand that, but I'm wondering what's the length of our commitment with Plant Moran? A month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 40 hours?
I don't, until the account gets reconciled.
We have to go in and look at it.
Where is it reconciled to? What date?
It is reconciled through January, however, there's some transactions in there that were set aside to say, okay, this is set aside until we can figure out how to correct that. Let me put it this way. The amount of money that was spent in the past, it will be nowhere near that. How, can we say exactly how many hours? No. But they have money in their budget, in their.
What's that budget amount? I don't remember. What's that budget amount?
Shy of 40,000.
Oh, no,
Like
no.
8,000.
Yeah, well, you've got two different, there's two
I
different.
don't wanna give up. I'm willing to still work on this for 1 month.
Okay, I'm sorry. It took how many months to get the tax account reconciled?
It's perfect to the penny.
Okay, yes, however, that's one account.
I
And we
understand.
don't have the time to have somebody who doesn't have experience I'm sorry,
She's found an awful lot of things.
okay, but there's
A lot
also,
of things. I'm not saying we give her unlimited amount of time. We have 5 months, we have 5 weeks. Do we have a letter from Baybridge that says what they need us to start sending them on the mid of August? I'm sure the first thing they're not gonna ask for is bank reconciliation.
it's one of the
There's
first.
a list, I have a list from
I
2
know,
years
it's
ago.
one of the first.
Right, but they're still gonna collect other stuff.
I just sincerely think that this is an expense that has been done in the past. And there were other expenses with another company that was much larger.
Right.
And did nothing for this township besides make more mistakes.
Well, and if she's gonna reconcile it the same way that Neil reconciled it, I don't support
No,
that.
that's not it. No, that's what we're trying to get away from. Because that's what we have had to do to get some of these months reconciled.
Can we have a moratorium on general ledger entries made? And only run things through accounts payable, accounts receivable, or cash receiving?
As much as possible, yes, absolutely.
Because the two systems work so well together that you really don't have to do a journal entry ever. And I'm seeing that, there's a journal entry here, and then it's back out, and then it's in, and it's back out,
Yes.
and it just, things work
A
out.
mess.
And another thing that I just learned the other day was that, you know how all the different items, no one taught me this, I just happened to come upon it. And I remember that Bobby had showed it to me, but I didn't understand it at the time. But you take all the items all receipted in items for the pool account, and I combine them all together into one number. So then it matches the number on the bank, right, the bank statement, where that wasn't the case for you.
I understand that.
Right,
I
but
understand.
that took you a lot of time to figure out what things added up to get to that deposit.
I know, and that's not even so much the problem. Part of the problem is old general ledger journal transactions that we don't know what to do with. We don't know.
So can we do the easy part and leave the hard stuff for her to say,
We've done
okay?
that, we've done that. Through, January, what did I get through?
January's finalized, and all the rest are started, except for I can't see May on the list.
No, did not start May because there was just too many other things that were still.
I'm not saying that we're gonna be able to solve some of the big things, but we can get some of the small stuff done for cheap.
Well,
Cheaper
sure,
than
I mean,
$180.
I can do that. I can do the easy stuff. It's the getting it to that zero without saying, okay, so we're gonna put so much money aside, this much, to get it to reconcile. And that's what we've been having to do. And that is what Neil did. And that's what we don't want. We want it to be reconciled to the penny so we can actually start a new year with our accounts reconciled. That is the main account that has our library, that has the DDA. It has the police, all of the money in there. And that account needs to be reconciled.
Agreed.
I'm done.
What, so where is this computer that, when she logs in from afar?
And that, I'm no longer gonna be using it. I'm gonna go back to being a trustee.
Okay, I'm just, because I understand how that works to log in from afar, and it can't be used by anything, by anyone else. It's a,
We'll
okay,
probably
I
just
just,
wheel it in my office.
well, it can stay there, it can stay there, my question is what computer is it? And I'm getting stuck on this length of the commitment.
What
And the other-
I clarified with them is that this is not an ongoing thing.
Okay,
This is to get things up to date. And then,
so define things. Are they going to,
Will Hound's done the contract then?
yeah, I can help get the, transactions needed for the audit.
okay,
You know,
Rachel's-
to-
yeah, okay.
to-
Rachel's working
because,
on it.
yeah, there's gonna be, we have to backdate things and like the, special assessments. Clearing that out, doing all that stuff. Now, there might be an hour or two from them on that to look it over to make sure that we have everything kosher, because it's not supposed to go to the auditor to have that done. We're supposed to do that here.
Well, I feel like Lori does in that I think we have some really good people on our team who can get some of this work done less expensively. I don't disagree that the pool account needs special attention.
That's all.
The contract doesn't specify that. I would like it to say, I would like there to be I would feel more comfortable with the end date.
Well, we had Neil as there will be time where we will need a CPA's advice,
I agree.
and that is what.
So this is not, and there is no end date, because to have a CPA available is to almost keep them on retainer.
No,
Never paid me
no,
unless.
no.
Okay. So this is just to reconcile the pool account, help you with the general journal entries.
They're pretty long.
And additional requests can be added via an email addendum. Assist with maintaining the general ledger account. That sounds like more monthly work than a terminal contract.
Can I throw this out there? She's not a CPA. Neither one of us are a CPA.
That's right.
And we will need CPA's advice. And we managed for years without that. However, this township has changed dramatically, especially with the new sewers and all the new USDA. I don't know how to put it that it's just like we have a lawyer that we contact if we need advice. This would be the same thing. You contact the CPA when you need advice as to how to handle it. I'm not saying open book.
Well, and I don't disagree with you. The legal contract is 1 year. So are we going to say this is 1 year? Are we going to say 6 months?
That's what I was gonna say, 6 months.
And this is a sticking point for me. Additional requests can be added via an email addendum. Is that open to everyone, or is it something that should be discussed?
I mean, if we say yes, we'll hire her to help us reconcile the pool account and get that. And then if we want her to do something else, then we come together as a board and discuss what we're gonna have her do or not, or next. Or if it's audit only
It's
stuff.
also, yes, I was gonna say audit. I'm fine with that. All I'm saying is we definitely have to have this to get this right for this audit. That's all
I don't think anybody's here is disagreeing with that. For me, it's the time frame, and I would like some things nailed down a little more tightly.
How about you move that additional request?
Or if you can leave it on if it's brought before the board. But for now, why don't we take it off?
Let's take it off because this is a contract with them. So if anything more comes up, that's a contract then with the township board. Not a contract, you know what I would say.
Prepare monthly bank reconciliations. Do we want to specify which account or in case there are other accounts that turn into problem children?
I want this to be strictly to get us up to date. And
Absolutely.
then
Which is,
I clarified that with Laura and Dawn before the meeting. I said, is this an ongoing or are we just going to do it to get us up to date? And that's my point.
so again, are we talking about monthly bank reconcilitions, all the accounts, or is the focus?
The pool and whatever that would affect that we can't figure out after.
Yeah.
I wish this had been done 2 years ago.
So, and we're talking, the line item that we're gonna use is a professional services under clerk and professional services under treasurer.
What, both of them, both.
Well, but there's nowhere in here that I'm included in any of this yet.
But I thought that you guys had done that in the budget. I'm sorry, Lori, I thought that was.
No one's talked to me, I didn't know anything about this, if I'm supposed to help out with the audit. I haven't seen a letter from Bainbridge.
This position is statutorily to make sure that general ledger is, and somebody whispered in somebody's ear that that better be being done. So.
Well, I've stated my concerns. I'm not comfortable. This seems like an open-ended contract. I'd like it to be nailed down
Special meetings then,
if necessary.
well, it's got the,
This doesn't have a time frame in it.
can we add that?
I don't know, Laura, the letter's written to you, you had the conversation with them.
And, we can add a time frame. You get. Yeah, because,
When is the audit due?
December 30th.
So it's.
Pretty much prefer it much before that though.
Right.
But at the end of the audit, there'll be adjusting entries that will be required, so.
Oh, no, that's definitely, well, some, but I'm hoping that, we get most of those done in advance.
As they come in from the auditor.
No, we can do, most of them ourselves.
Because the CPA will tell us what to debit and what
No,
to
some
credit.
of it I had learned and done before. And that's not-
No, you want to get trustee again.
I'm not comfortable with this going on for longer than 6 months. I think if we do it for 6 months and then we can readdress this, and even 6 months seems.
I think 3 months, actually.
I would be more comfortable.
I think 3 months.
So
We don't need her printing and photocopying stuff for our audit, I mean,
No,
No.
oh, no,
Not
that's
at
not, that's not
$180
it
an hour, no way.
at all. No, no, that's definitely.
John?
Does anybody have a calendar? So, November through November first.
I was gonna say, yeah, because we don't know exactly when you'd be able to start on anything, so. How about 3 months after start of work?
Okay. Well, it looks like we need to get back with Plant Moran and get this contract reworked.
You can go ahead and make the changes right on there, initial it. And if they don't initial, then they have to initial it as well.
So we'll take off the additional requests can be added via email. Limit it to 3 months from the date of the signed contract.
The date we start work.
Date. We have no idea when that is.
Did she have any idea like how busy her schedule was when she thought she could give us a hand? When you talked to her?
No, she didn't, but there's other people in the office that she gave me. Melanie was her supervisor, she's a senior consultant, which would be part of the blended fee. And she'd be ready to jump in whenever needed, we're still in the beginning stages of this. I can't get a date from her until I know it's accepted.
There's a motion on the table to accept this contract. Do we want to amend that, or do you want to take a vote on it? Let's, we haven't voted on it, we can amend it.
Let's say, no.
So, you want to amend your motion, Laura?
To remove the request that can be added via an email addendum. Prepare monthly bank reconciliations for the pool account.
How about this reworded to, get us up to date?
Which bullet point?
The first
I
one,
want to prepare monthly bank recs through 6/30/2025.
and then we need, oh, 3-month contract.
From the date that they start work. I think it's dated signed, otherwise, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so your motion is to make these changes to this contract and enter into this agreement with Plant Moran.
Yes.
And so Laura made the motion, Sue supported. Any more conversation? We're gonna change the first bullet point to read, prepare monthly bank reconciliations through June 30, 2025 for pool account.
Well, unless it causes issues that we can't figure out on the other one.
Would be,
But I'm sure we can.
So what do we want?
Pool account issues.
The second bullet point, assist with maintaining the general ledger accounting. Is that through June 30? Is that for the 3 months, or is that in preparation for the audit?
Could be June 30, right? She'd have access to June 30 stuff.
Yeah,
And then in the new year, we could ask for questions. Contact her and say, hey, this came up.
well, I don't think we have to see if they work that though.
Okay.
Or do you want to take the maintaining out and have it read assist with the general ledger accounting through June 30, 2025? I feel like we need a new contract.
And when we can,
I can get these changes made.
So third bullet point is annual year-end close-out accounting records. Fourth, annual audit preparation and facilitation, and remove the final bullet point. And add a bullet point, 3-month contract from date contract is signed.
Anytime I've closed a year, it's nothing major, it's click, click. But if she's maintaining the general ledger accounting, and when she's happy that that's good, then we can.
there's a lot of adjustments that are done after the year end to the general ledger. So it's not just a click at the end of it.
No, she's gonna do this general ledger stuff. So general ledger would be those adjustments and those entries and things like that. So I'm thinking that these are the same thing. If you say annual year-end close of accounts, that's just closing the accounts at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
We really need your help on the general ledger.
So I guess I will make this out there. Do you want to have another special meeting? Get this ironed out and then adopt it?
That would be my preference.
And I'd like to be able to talk to her too if
So, motion on the table, seconded. Let's put this to a vote.
You want to just remove your motion for now?
And then wait for the special meeting. Okay, and then remove my motion.
Okay. So we will table the plant Moran for, change in the contract, and we will have a special meeting for that. Okay. USDA grant. Last week I received an email from Jeff Lawson, Sheboygan County Administrator. The USDA is working with the county. There may be a grant available through the USDA Emergency Watershed Protection Program grant, whereby the grant would provide 75%. It would be to clean up 3 areas on the Sturgeon River. The township must agree to participate in the cost. It's a 25% local match. The grant is not to open the river for commercial or private use. It is to help prevent a future flooding in the event of another 100-year storm. There, Jeff provided through Michigan State Police 3 locations, the biggest of which is the south side of the Sturgeon is the Burt Lake State Park. The other 2 areas are off Schultz Hill, the big curve there on the Sturgeon where you go down I'm sorry. Yes, down at the bottom of that hill, and then if you turn right onto that Wilson, and then down there. But the big issue is, the question is, they don't really know the cost. There's a very preliminary estimate of $35,000 to $40,000 contingent on a final bid. It would result in approximately $4,000 to $5,000 cost to the township. The question Jeff has for us is, would the township be interested in participating in the project if the grant is available? So that is the motion that I would make, is
Is the township interested in participating if the project is grant eligible? Is there support for that motion? Discussion?
We gotta just have waste clear, it's not going through and cleaning out the entire waterway.
Correct.
It's just preventative maintenance essentially.
Yes, and what it would require is Burt Lake State Park area from the bridge out to Burt Lake seems to be accessible from the park. The other issue is where it involves trees having fallen in from the riverbank on private property. You know, they would have to get access from the private individual. But yes, it is not to clear out the river for commercial river use or for personal river use. It is to prevent future flooding and potential damage to what he calls municipal infrastructure or private structures. And there is a, June 16th, I think, was the date.
Have any of the private owners there attempted to, like the rest of us had to do with removing trees? Have they attempted to?
I don't know the answer to that.
From the few people that have had to remove their own.
Right. And from the pictures that were provided, and these black and white pictures are difficult, you can see some arrows.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't look to me like anything's been attempted. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, put it to a vote. Is the board interested in having the township participating if the project is grant eligible?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You have to get permission from the property owners.
That would not be on us, it would be on whoever was going to undertake taking the trees out.
Would we have a say as to how much? I mean, once the final bids come in?
Because we don't have this, says that there's a
Right.
preliminary estimate, so it could actually be more.
Exactly, it could be more.
This isn't a final decision, this is just.
Yeah. Are we interested in, what Jeff explained to me is he said, if you're not interested, we'll remove these 3 sections from the map that will be submitted. That was the question Laura asked was the question that I posed, is it could be more, and he said it could be more.
At that time, it's $15,000.
He didn't answer it. That's what bothers me too.
And that once we commit to this project, what if there's a project on the Pigeon or a project on somewhere else? Are they then gonna come up and ask us to pitch in on too?
Especially when other people have had to clear their own.
Yeah.
Where's the third area? You said shows and you said state park. Where's the third area?
Down at the bottom of Fisher Woods.
From my house.
Jeff did not have the exact parcel IDs. On the pictures from the Michigan State Police drone, I presume these are drone pictures, it gives one address up on Bola Street and Wilson, and that's way up the hill, up Schultz Hill. That made no sense to me whatsoever.
No.
So he was going to be getting parcel IDs, which, on those final 2, which we did not have as of today.
So when you said state park, you're saying it's just the state park area, it's not the other people on the other side of the street?
Well, it's hard to tell from this picture.
Did
because
Yeah,
from
that is
the, from the
that's what it's at.
68 bridge, that bank is so high,
Right.
there's not really,
Well, I'm happy to share this picture. It appears,
on a private. But you can't tell.
I can't tell.
Yeah, I can remember years past when the ice used to jam up between the Wilsons and the lake.
Yeah.
And flood, it was terrible to try to get the ice jams free.
Right.
You remember that?
but they would blow it up. They would
Yeah.
take explosives and they would blow it up and move it up.
So you can't put that stuff in the person.
Can you put in that with the,
It's not an option.
I'll ask again, why the private property owners aren't.
Well, I would think most of the if you've been down the river on that side, most of the private property owners have seawalls all down there. It's the state park side that's the problem. And there's not much of the state park that is low landed through there. That's snowshoe through there in the wintertime. And Wilson's is high all the way down through where Anderson's, Big Bear, all that. There's just one very small area that is low.
Right.
But it still goes back to the fact where the trees and private property have fallen in. And
The people on the other side, where they have their seawalls in, I've been down there, there's not been any trees from that side. It's a state park side.
that's what we can't tell from the pictures.
Yeah, and I don't know without seeing the pictures, but there's not very much of lowland there on the state park side. And it really wouldn't affect the boat launch, even if it did flood. Anyway.
So the bottom right corner, it's got the 3928 normal avenue address. So that's,
Yeah,
I've
we
done
tried.
all of them.
We tried to.
And if you look at the left, it says Whit Boulevard / Barber Street. So if you pull it up on the GIS map,
If it's just from
Yeah,
stuff
no, it's not.
slowing down, that's different, helping to clear that up.
so I presume that to be on the Burt Lake State Park side. And that's what Jeff was able to confirm. It's the next two, which it says Sturgeon River Drive / Fisher Woods Road. We're on the far left of that. Yeah.
When you get to the bottom of Fisher Woods, and then you hang it right, is that Sturgeon River Drive?
Could be. And that's all
Mr.
private.
Allen lived in there?
That's all private in there. Yeah. And then the last picture is Wilson Road / Vola Drive.
Well, that was not even
No, that's
near
up
the
there.
river, yeah.
Right,
Right on the other side of Wilson,
Right.
where my cousin lives.
Right.
There's no flood worrying going on there.
Well,
Somebody's holding their own.
So is
Got
that,
her.
Right.
is that what we're looking at, is that stuff that has fallen in and floating down,
It's
that's
the
causing the issues?
What he says is it's these trees that have fallen, and I think this first picture, you can't see it, but this first picture shows it most clear.
Yeah.
Where the trees are laying in and over the river. And what he says, the county is willing to cover a portion of the match if township will also agree to participate in the cost. The grant is not to provide recreational access or clearing. The grant is to remove debris that could cause future flooding during a 100-year storm event, resulting in damage to municipal infrastructure or private structures. Approval from property owners would also have to be obtained to access debris locations. The Michigan State Police flew aerials of a portion of the watershed within the township. The link to the MSP videos are below. And he's identified the following locations. At Burt Lake South, approximately 16 trees partially in the river. Potential hazard to Barber Street Bridge and debris in Burt Lake. Access possible from Burt Lake State Park parking area. At 6:55 of the video, C17 and C18, multiple trees over the river, possible access from private property.
Is the state chipping in on this?
It's USDA, I don't think the state is, the county, yeah, no, it looks like the USDA
USDA,
and the counting, but. Yeah, I mean, if I could say to him, we'll, limit it, but what about the people on other waterways that have had to clear up their own debris?
Yeah, I mean, look at these cottages, and everyone's, we've had to do our own, it's.
That's what we've been saying.
This is from June 9th. I think a lot of this is already cleared up.
Next question.
I recently tubed down that,
Okay, good.
area. And there is a lot of, trees that are falling into the river. The river itself, as far as areas that are passable, like either a tube or a kayak or a inflatable boat, is limited and so forth. But I think the point here is not to favor one group over another as far as clearing their stuff. I think that what they're trying to do is to prevent all of the things that have fallen into the river, some of which have been, they've used a chainsaw and cut it, so it's not really attached to anything anymore, it's just like log jams. And whenever we get a really high rainfall, then we have stuff floating down the river from these log jams. So what I think they're trying to say is if we get 100-year flood, then a lot of that debris that normally just stays piled up in the bends is gonna be just dislodged and come down. And there are places where it could actually block the whole river, just like a beaver dam does. And if it blocks the river with the amount, that's the fastest flowing river in Michigan, and it carries a lot of water going through it. So it wouldn't take long for that to back up onto the land and destroy property and so forth. So I don't think, we cleaned up our area and stuff too, but when we think about the whole picture, if the county is willing to help out, if we could say, yes, we would help out too, then basically we're taking away a risk of flooding when it is a possibility. So, they are obviously, Big Bear goes up there a lot on their own accord because of course they have a business and they do clean it out to aid their guests and going down the river. Some of it does appear to be on private land that's come over, and some of it does appear to be on, I don't know what, it's state land or what. But is there an ordinance that says that somebody has to clear the river? Do we need to exercise polite things to say you've got to clear the river if you've had trees fall into it? That's the whole question. Who needs to take responsibility for this? It is a resource that we all use, but yet it's also a concern. We don't want to have a dam and then have all this, water flowing over the lower parts of the river area. So that's my take on it.
And that's what I was wondering, if some of it wasn't from just floating down.
There are lots of areas along the Sturgeon that are not occupied, so I don't know who owns that land. I don't carry my phone along with me.
I wouldn't either.
And so forth. But, it's not really heavily populated until you get, close to the bridges and stuff. Now I haven't gone up any farther than Fisher Road. I hear it's unpassable past above that. There are a lot of people who do like to tube, from the first White Road, the second White Road, or even from Wolverine. But this is not a recreational concern. This is a concern that these trees that have fallen or even been cut down and allowed to fall in the river may cause a flooding risk if they make a blockade.
Or if the water rises so high, it grabs the trees that are in the river that are on the bank
Yes.
and sucks those in.
Exactly. We see that. Our home is down near the old Bird Lake Marina, so we occasionally see like full trees going down the river into the lake. And but if you had a big flood or a big hard rain and the water rose, it's gonna dislodge those branches and those trees that have piled up in those little corners.
Well,
I would,
Can I remind the LPA had on here, this is protecting the watershed. And I think it's important, I looked that on this, reading through this is it's protecting the watershed and community. They're asking us if we're interested.
We're not making a commitment, we're just saying, yeah, we'd be interested in continuing to discuss it.
As long as applicable.
Right.
Depending if we have the money.
Our portion was $10,000, okay.
Right.
I would feel more comfortable if the state was also partnering in on this, but I don't think that I'm going to.
I'm willing to amend, I'd like to amend my motion to say, is the board interested in having the township participate if the project is grant eligible? We can limit the extent of our financial commitment. And at what point can the township disengage from this project? That would be my qualifying.
I think this is the total amount, because I think that we have partners. But maybe
I know that.
So my motion has been amended to qualify it that, are we interested in participating if the project is grant eligible? We limit our costs to be determined at a future date based on the final bid price, which has not been established. And at what point can we disengage from this project?
Awesome.
Okay, and I can reach out to, so, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Last item, I'll get a hold of Jeff Watson on those. Last item, we had an incident on Barber Street whereby a pedestrian was struck by a truck. It was a hit and run. They were pretty banged up. I don't know the full extent of their injuries. They were sent to the hospital for x-rays. A police report was filed. The question came in whether or not the township could do anything to help create awareness by painting orange stripes across the road from Ken's Village Market to the gravel associate parking lot across the street, just beyond the gas station. I talked to Matt Hall at the road commission today. He said the township would have to send a request that we discussed it at the board meeting, and the township would like to know if a crosswalk is feasible. He would send his engineer down to take a look, and we could go from there. We can't just go and paint orange stripes on the roads,
Some customers park over there and walk over the shop too.
And again, what they're gonna look at is the best, but the best place for the crosswalk across there. So that's my question. My motion is the board in favor of me sending an email to the road commission saying, yes, we're interested in having your engineer come take a look and see if we can put a crosswalk there and what the price cost, what it would entail in cost. So that's my motion.
And I'll support that motion.
You say a crosswalk addition, with addition of that little sign that they're now putting up there that draws people's attention to the legal aspects of people in the crosswalks.
I don't know if that road's wide enough right there to, we'd just like to see at least a crosswalk.
Yeah, at least a crosswalk, but
Something.
I grew up, we lived for quite a while near a college, a university, and, we're accustomed to students walking across roads without even looking up from their phones and so forth, and so, we just automatically stop when anybody gets near a crosswalk, whereas, I've been, near missed a number of times just, trying to cross where the new crosswalks are, right, in town. And I've witnessed some really scary things with little kids and stuff, so, that's making people aware that it is a law.
Okay, so the motion is to send an email to the road commission asking them to come and
do a study and a survey and provide a cost estimate.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And public comments?
My name is Jim Harder. I'm here representing the Indian River Masonic Lodge, past patrons. And December of '23, we submitted some paperwork to Doug Piper to ask for a property tax exemption. We submitted all the paperwork, all the documentation that was required. We are a 501c10 nonprofit organization, and in that IRS ruling, it specifically mentions the Masons, in fact. Also, MCL 211-7 or .71 provides for property tax exemptions for charitable institutions, which the Masons are. We provide free use of our facility for community events. Kids sale was just down there in front of the lodge prior to the Frontier or the event we just had. We also are open for blood drives, etc., at no charge to any of the organizations. We provide bikes for books for grade schoolers. Most people don't realize that. The schools themselves determine what grades, how many books the kids read, and who read the most books, they get a free bike. We're a member of the Indian River Chamber of Commerce. We also support the burn camp. And we also provide for driver's education for some for disadvantaged youth who otherwise would not be able to afford to get driver's education for their driver's license. We submitted this paperwork, like I say, December 23rd. We have not heard anything back other than the initial comment from Douglas that everything was fine. He sees no problem with it. I haven't heard whether or not we are actually property tax exempt location. So I would like to know if we can.
Do you have a phone number? I can call you tomorrow. I can look that up and call you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
My phone number is 360-703-5764.
I'll look in the current tax year, and then he's working on 2016. I'll look there too to see if it's in transition.
Yeah.
If not, it needs to go to board.
Originally, from what I understand, a few years back, we were tax exempt. That changed for some reason. I don't know what the whole story is behind that. Apparently, there was some disagreement or something between some individuals that caused us to be put back on the tax rolls, but we were tax exempt before. So we're asking as a 501c10 organization.
What's your last name, please?
Jim Carter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Good evening, Dan Stone. Piggyback off your last agenda item and then what Beth said, and having several conversations with people in the community with the crosswalks in town, what would be the protocol with the state or whoever it would entail to reduce the speed limit on Main Street to 25? I think it's probably been brought up before, and because it's old US 27, the state has to be involved.
Correct, yeah, be a study done by the state police.
Would that require the township to put in a request?
I would assume the county. A letter can be sent from the township to the county, but
We put in for studies in the past, it has to do with it being a state road. And, the minimum that they would do is 35. Can always try again, but
Well, and there's stipulations out there with the number of ingress and egress in a per half mile distance. The fewer ingress and egress driveways, business driveways, you have the higher the speed limit. So there is always the risk
that they would come and do a traffic, and it requires a traffic study through the Michigan State Police. They come when they come, you know, it's lovely for them to come on July 4th or 5th. You know, if they come in February, we don't have that much traffic. There's always a chance it can go up, there's a chance it can go down. I don't think, 25 is as low as any road in Sheboygan County can be posted. I don't disagree that it should be lower. It is, we don't have to go that fast.
Right, and probably many people don't, I don't, I mean, I drive 25. Because, you know, we're gonna be talking about other roads and things like that, because there have been a lot of close stops.
Yes. And, I talked to Matt about that because we've had other businesses on the main street who said, geez, you know, we've got a crosswalk down here at the very north end, and then we're not until, you know, Lake Street, and we've got a 2, and then we've got, you know, Lloyd Street. That was all taken into account when the streetscape was done. There was an engineering study in that, and the engineers decided through the study where those crosswalks would go. Because the request was, gee, could we just get some more of those little orange, green things?
Unfortunately, there's people driving more than 35.
And not-
Everybody has seen that.
And knocking them over too.
Right.
I've seen several.
Right. One other quick question, maybe no, maybe no. Whatever happened to this angel sculpture out in front of the library? Somebody know?
The sculptor took it back. We had the township commissioned a few years ago. There is a new sculpture that should be coming late summer, early fall. And it will be put on the base that's out there. We hope to, he's working with, Kelsey to have some sort of a celebration there. He's a member of our indigenous community here out of Petoskey, and the tribe of Petoskey is very excited to partner with us.
That angel is beautiful. I just saw it sitting in a garage somewhere. I put it like that.
She's like, no, you're not.
Any other public comment? Okay, public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm always determined not to see you.
Kim Pearson. I just have a couple of clarification. I didn't understand on the bills. 29 bills were paid. Didn't say what they were, but then you said there were 1,000 checks a month that you wrote. So that was a little confusing to me. You only paid 29 bills and wrote 1,000 checks. I didn't understand that. And also the culvert for Club Road, if that's not marked, like if somebody fell into it or a snowmobile or something happened, would the township be liable?
That's a county road. I don't know the answer to that. The culvert's under the road, you know, it's gonna be.
Yeah, but I mean, if something went over it, like if it was filled with snow and you couldn't see it, I mean, is it gonna be marked?
I presume it is. I can ask
Because
that.
that isn't marked now, and I know last year it was difficult to see if you were snowshoeing through there, cross-country skiing through there or something, or even if a snowmobile went by there, even if you're not supposed to, I mean, somebody could get hurt, and
Yeah, we're gonna ask, sure.
liability. And then I didn't understand about the boat launch, something about transferring the money, the $7,200, is that like someone's salary?
It is for salary. At the last meeting, we spoke about, because the parks have been paying for all of that, we were taking it from the parks. And whenever they work, say at the cemeteries, the township's gonna pay that because that's on property.
So the 7,200 goes to a person or goes to the parks?
The budgeted amount that they put in their hourly, if that's the max that we're expecting. This isn't, new this year.
Well, I was just asking for clarification.
I know,
I'm
it's
not
not
really
one
upset.
person.
I'm
I'm
just,
not upset.
oh,
It's not one
I'm
person.
just asking for clarification. Is where does the money go? Is a person collecting it for working at the boat fee? It wasn't really,
It's for
clarified.
maintenance, it's for cutting the grass.
Okay.
Doing that type of stuff.
Okay, so it goes in their
They're trying to-
fund.
We're trying to take all the wages that are in parks and spread them, because they're not just doing the parks, they're doing the boat launch, which is a separate entity, and then they're doing here.
Right.
So that we're spreading the salary expenses where they're actually working.
Okay, okay, all right. I agree, because it wasn't, I didn't understand that, so thank you for the clarification on that. Okay. And I'm not against the Sturgeon River cleanup, I live on Sturgeon River and I like it to be nice, but there's so many log jams on there that no matter how much rain or whatever you get, it eventually they go into Burt Lake, so be careful going in the summer. That's all I can say, take out your rolling. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. Public comments are closed. Board comments.
I just want to say how nice it is to have a meeting where people are allowed to speak up. It's like old time meetings where.
Yeah, because that was really helpful.
Yes,
What you said,
yes.
thank you, because I wasn't grasping a flood, like these logs are gonna cause a flood, I didn't understand, so when you explained it, I was like, okay.
I love it. It
Yeah.
is,
The way it should be.
meetings used to be held. Jay might remember that.
Any other board comments? Okay, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.